Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie with Staff Base Academy. As a communicator, maybe you know this situation. You go into a meeting with a key stakeholder who has ideas for a video or communications activity and just wants to check the communications box on their planned project. And the sooner, the better. Of course, you know you should step back and talk about goals and outcomes before diving into a plan, but that's often easier said than done. In this video, you will learn how to define your goals for internal communication, how to talk to and involve your key stakeholders and get them on board, and how to create smart outcomes. Setting goals for communication might sound like an easy and quick exercise. Just listen to what your key stakeholders want, right? In fact, what they want might be very different from what they need, and just helping them work through that problem might be your most important contribution to the project. So how do you do that? Here is a simple approach.
Communication goals can be defined for just one campaign, or there can be multiple goals for a full year's communication strategy. The first step is to do your background research to get a better idea of the problem you are trying to solve. This knowledge is great input to enter into more detailed discussions with your main stakeholder and a wider circle of stakeholders. These discussions revolve around finding out what the actual problem and needs are, and what the desired outcome looks like. If you can't nail down what you actually want to change as a result of your communication, there is no point in doing it.
If you put in the effort now, you'll avoid wasting time later. No communicator wants to invest time into goals that aren't really needed or won't work. Let's take a look at some things you should research first.
Which words and language are used to describe the problem? Which stakeholders should you talk to? What have you learned from campaigns in the past? Are there underlying problems that might be the real issue? Is there any data to quantify the problem?
The next step is to talk to your key stakeholder and find out their expected outcomes and their needs. But maybe this is a senior leader and you might be nervous about challenging them. Here are 5 tips to master that discussion.
Understand main stakeholder needs. Come with data, leave with respect. It's great if you can bring numbers to the discussion. It's the language they understand and value. Practice asking tough questions. Can I ask you a difficult question? This takes the edge away from your tough question. Listening drives influence. Work on your active listening skills, as they are an easy way to build trust. Understand personal motivation. Why is that important to you? Outcome-oriented questions. What should employees do and know as a result of the communication?
In many cases, there might be other stakeholders you should involve to define the problem. Think about a collaborative approach here.
This could be done in a workshop with these key stakeholders and subject matter experts, a good way to build relationships.
This is also a smart way to involve key influencers in your communications efforts early and get them on your side.
So, we've done the research, talked to the key stakeholders, and now are ready to finalize the communication goal and the intended outcomes.
Sometimes our key stakeholders might not ask us for outcomes or measurable results, but just because you're not asked to do it doesn't mean you shouldn't. We'd never see our colleagues in finance, HR, or IT coming into a senior level meeting without some data in hand.
A first easy step to think about outcomes is the question, what should employees do, know, and feel once they receive and understand your message? We will discuss this concept again in the messaging section. For the definition of communication goals here, it's especially important to define the more tangible do and know part. Based on this input, you can now define the outcomes. Effective outcomes are SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Here is an example. Our goal is our employees understand and support the acquisition. Our SMART goal is more than 90% of our employees agree to the understand and support the acquisition question in the Pulse survey 3 months after the announcement.
Let's sum things up here. We talked about how to define your goals for internal communication, how to talk to and involve your key stakeholders to get them on your side, and how to create smart outcomes. Now that you have a better idea about your goals and stakeholders, you should better understand your audience and define your message. Check out our video about understanding your audience and how to create powerful messages. We hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.